Time is running out. At TheorySabers.com, we're giving away one free saber with every single saber purchase, so make sure you order before the 18th of October to get your sabers in the mail before Halloween.
Most people know the ending of Return of the Jedi is the moment that Luke Skywalker truly becomes a Jedi, throwing away his lightsaber and refusing to kill his father. But what most fans don't realize is just how close George Lucas originally came to making Luke do the opposite. In July of 1981, during the story conferences for Return of the Jedi, Lucas sat down with Lawrence Kasdan, Richard Marquand, and producer Howard Kazanjian to outline the movie's final act. The transcripts, printed in the making of Return of the Jedi, revealed that the duel between Luke, Vader, and the Emperor was always meant to be the emotional core. But in early discussions, the darkness ran much deeper. Check this out. So, Kasdan asked how far Luke would go under the Emperor's influence, and George replies that Palpatine would push him until he snapped. The Emperor says, "You hate your father, and you want to kill him." He gets Luke worked up to where Luke is ready to kill. The Emperor says, "See, you have it in you. Here, take this sword, kill your father." This wasn't just metaphorical temptation. At one point, Lucas described Luke actually igniting his blade, attacking Vader in rage and overpowering him until he was on the ground, helpless, defenseless, and Kasdan immediately responded to the intensity of that idea. Now we have Luke about to kill an unarmed, defenseless man. We've never done that before. And George agrees. He clarifies that the exact line that would define Luke's arc and moral threshold of the entire saga is if he kills a defenseless man, especially a defenseless father. Then he has gone over to the dark side. And it was this sentence here that became the very heart of the film, that George wasn't interested in another lightsaber duel for spectacle. He wanted to dramatize moral choice. Luke had to face the same decision his father faced years before, the decision between power and compassion. In these meetings, George made it clear that the Emperor would weaponize Luke's emotions, twisting his love for his friends and hatred for evil into anger. Palpatine would tell him that the only way to end suffering was to destroy his enemies completely. And for a moment, right up until Vader lies beaten, Luke almost believes him. On screen, that tension is perfectly realized. The score drops, Luke's breathing grows heavy, the camera cuts between his face and the Emperor's smile and Vader's outstretched, severed hand, a mirror of Luke's own mechanical one. It's absolutely beautiful. It's in this silence here that Luke recognizes what he has become. He's staring at himself in his father's reflection. That entire emotional payoff traces straight back to the conversation in 1981 that I'm telling you here. George Lucas designed the duel to make the audience think that Luke might actually kill Vader, that he might fall just like Anakin did. Then, at that breaking point, Luke throws away his saber and says the line that completes his journey. "I am a Jedi, like my father before me." Then you compare this to Revenge of the Sith, and it becomes even more striking of a difference. In that movie, Anakin kills Count Dooku, an unarmed man, at Palpatine's urging, where George wrote that moment as the mirror of Luke's temptation decades earlier. One son fails the test, the other passes it. The story meeting notes prove that none of this was accidental. George was consciously building the moral symmetry between father and son, light and dark. The Emperor uses the same method on both to provoke anger, justify vengeance, promise control, but where Anakin gives in, Luke resists. Now, Kasdan calls this the perfect thing, a scene where the Emperor orders Luke to kill, and the entire saga hangs on whether or not he does. George agreed, but emphasized that Star Wars was never about vengeance, it was about rejection of hate. The Emperor starts preaching to him. "You hate your father, and you want to kill him." Just when you think Luke is going to kill Vader, the Emperor says, "Finish him." Luke turns off his laser sword, throws it at the Emperor. "I have controlled my hate. I don't hate my father." That is George writing the moment of redemption itself, years before the camera rolled. He even ends the passage by describing how Palpatine loses control when Luke refuses. The Emperor gets enraged. He starts shooting lightning bolts and Luke starts gasping for breath. Luke is about to be killed and then Vader kills the Emperor. So yes, Luke really did come within seconds of killing his father. The entire climax was built around that temptation, around that scene, and designed so that when he finally rejects it, the audience, us, feels the weight of everything that's come before. The failure of Anakin, the seduction of the dark side, the corruption of power, all undone in one act of mercy. That's why George changed the title from Revenge of the Jedi to Return of the Jedi. Revenge is what the Sith do, return is what Luke embodies, and really, so does Anakin. The return to compassion, to balance, and to the core of what a Jedi truly is, and of course, not to mention, the actual Jedi that returned, which is Anakin Skywalker. There's so much real poetry and meaning behind every single thing that George does, and I don't think any of us will ever fully unpack all of it, because there is just too much detail in every single nuance of every movement, every line, every single word that is uttered or even put on the posters of Star Wars, or at least George's Star Wars. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Would you have wanted Luke to actually kill Vader and join the Emperor? Or are you happy with the way that it ended? Did you know that there was also another plan for Luke to end up taking Vader's helmet and putting onto his own head and saying, "Now I am Vader," once his father died after saving him? Kind of weird, but let me know what you think. Some people like it. Have an awesome rest of your day. Leave a like on this video. Check out theorysabers.com for all of your saber needs, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, the Force will be with you always.